Hi, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Proline. As we head into the back end of the NFL regular season, the bowls are about to begin. This is the off week in college football, just the Army-Navy game. But next week, the bowls. But nevertheless, you want to check out our college edition of Proline because we're going to have some really good bowl tips for you on that edition. And, you know, I think it's going to get you paid. But right now, we're going to try and get you paid in the National Football League with a couple of interesting games to look at this weekend and some other items as well. Jim Feist is here, John Creighton as well. My name's Dave Koken, and we are glad to have you with us. Jim, you've got, before we do anything else, before we look at the NFL games, let's ring in the holidays. Jim, you have your first, I guess this is the first item to be placed under the trees of people who are watching us, but they don't have to wait until Christmas Day to open the present. They can get it right now.
You talking about my early bird bowl package? $199 online, $29.
Yes.
If you sign up, that's a holiday, man. I got jingle bells, jingle bell rock. Here we go. It's $29. If you call right now, you play through Monday night in the NFL. 1-866-841-1655. This bowl package is it's a pretty awesome thing. $199 online, $29 if you sign up right now, and you get a bonus because you play the NFL through Monday night as well. 1-866-841-1655. We will have a lot of bowl winners this year, as we always do. So that's 1-866-841-1655.
John, you're sitting in for Mr. Vegas this week, off a Mountain West Conference Game of the Year winner in Fresno. Wish I'd have gone along with that one. I had Utah State in the game. I had a great weekend, but Utah State was the loser for me. What does Mr. Vegas have in store this weekend?
Yeah, it was a 7-4 football weekend overall, including that Mountain West Conference Game of the Year with Fresno. You get a full week of action, 7 full days in all sports from Mr. Vegas for $7. It's going to include Sunday's AFC Total of the Year. Just call 1-866-896-1627, Dave.
Okay, well, I had my week at this time of year, and I don't say this to sound smug. It's just true. You don't really want to be opposite me in a college football game at this time of year. This is, it doesn't. It's not that I don't start the season well. I mean, but at the end of the year, my numbers and my instincts are completely locked in. I had another really good weekend in college football. I did mention I lost the Utah State game. They didn't play well at all. That's about it, folks. Had a really big play on South Alabama. Loved them. That might have been the strongest bet I've seen all year in college football. I mean, it was just a perfect situation for the Jaguars. Did well in the big games. It's just the time of year where you don't want to be opposite me in college football, and that means the bowl package. I think that's the best bowl package around because what you're going to get is a play on every single bowl game. Now, some are going to be stronger than others, obviously, okay? But there's 35 bowls. You're going to get 35 plays. Might be a total, might be a side. Depends on the game. But you're going to get a play on every single bowl game. And what I'm going to do, now I've been selling this for $49. This is a special only for those of you watching this show. If you don't see this show, you're not going to know about it. $25 gets you the bowl special. It also gets you a 5-play Saturday countdown in college basketball. And I should mention that bowl special includes my college bowl game of the year, which on its own is going to sell for $99. So, I mean, you're talking about a ton of value here. And it's one low price, $25. The catch is you got to call in the next day or two on this because the price goes back up after that. So take advantage, 1-866-896-1629. That's 1-866-896-1629. Okay, the Twitter question of the week, or it can be the Facebook question of the week as well for Jim, John, and myself. You want to follow us on Twitter at Jim Feist Sports or on Facebook at Proline TV. And from Amy Gregg in Minneapolis, the Texans just fired their head coach, and Mike Shanahan is next. Would agree with that, certainly. What do you look for to predict whether a team is ready to play for the new coach or if they're packing it in? It varies from team to team. You have to kind of get a sense for it because there's no there's no way of knowing for sure. I mean, I'll give you some examples this year in college football. You had 2 interim coaches take over, and their teams were phenomenal. USC, with Ed Orgeron, obviously, they did extremely well. And under the radar, Connecticut, which told Paul Pasqualoni to get lost, and they played really well at the end of the year, including last Saturday. Connecticut just had a play on that. Connecticut just blew out their opponent. You can also look at some other programs this year that fired their coaches and they were horrible. They got even worse. So, it varies from team to team. I have a tendency to think in the NFL, you're still going to see teams play hard for Houston, and also, I think Shanahan's there for the rest of the year anyway, but the players know he's not. But the players in the NFL aren't likely to get depressed and give up for a real simple reason. They're getting paid. And if they play like crap, they might not be getting paid next season. Somebody else will come in and take their job. So to me, I don't think it makes a team play any harder, but you might actually get a little more focus in the NFL at times. Tough to say. I would definitely watch the Houston Texans this weekend to see what kind of a reaction they have. And you can, it means you can't bet the first game. Okay, fine. But you can bet it after that and take advantage of the last 2 weeks of the season based off what you see this weekend. Would you buy that, Jim? I mean, if the Texans go out and play a good game this weekend, they're probably worth playing the last 2 weeks as well.
I would say so. I mean, this is a division game for the Texans. And the other thing is, if you talk about a specific game, the question was kind of a general question. But if you narrow it down to a specific game like this, the Colts are not that good a football team. They lost Reggie Wayne. Their running game really isn't that strong. Their offensive line isn't that strong. They've been outplayed in the stats almost every game of the year. They came up with a lot of victories the last 2 years because of fortunate situations. There was a lot of motivation last year because of the health reasons for the coach, and a lot of things went their way. It's not going that way this year. Now, they're fortunate this year. They're in a division where they're not getting any competition. They've already locked up their division. There's nobody going to beat them. So they're in the playoffs. They're not playing well right now. Houston, they're not playing for a head coach right now that they know is going to be there next year. Wade Phillips is not going to be the head coach, so they're kind of auditioning for whoever else might come in. That could be Shanahan coming out of Washington. That's possible. Or it could be somebody else. The best head coaching moves so far this year have been Trestman and Kelly. They came in as offensive coaches, Trestman coming out of Montreal, but with 12 years of NFL experience. And I predicted that he would do very well as an offensive coach for Chicago. And they have become a powerhouse offensively. Their defense has let them down, but their offense has done very well. And Chip Kelly, no one's doing any better than that. So maybe these teams are going to look a little bit differently and get away from going back to the old standard type coach that hasn't done well somewhere else, broken down. Now you pick him up as a head coach. He comes in, you expect him to do well. It's kind of like if everything's broken and you keep going back and you keep doing the same thing over and over again, that's a definition of insanity. Maybe they got to step outside the box and do something a little bit differently. So I think, like Dave said, a lot of these teams are going to play strong because they don't know what's going to happen and they want to keep their jobs. Now, you've got guys down in Houston. Schaub, for example, is the quarterback. He doesn't know what's going to happen to him. Will he get renewed? Will he move on somewhere else? I mean, this guy threw more pick sixes than he threw touchdown passes this year. So he's a real question mark as to where he's going to work next year, if he's going to work. I'm sure he'll get a backup job somewhere. So I do feel Dave was right. I think a lot of these players are going to play hard because they're playing for their jobs. And, not everybody gets 10-year, $15 million a year contracts. Some of these guys are only making $300,000, $500,000, $600,000, which isn't bad money, but they're not guaranteed contracts that they're going to get a job next year.
All right, let's look at
history shows that.
Oh, I'm sorry, John.
Yeah, history shows that it's a mixed bag with these coaches. I mean, the Redskins in 01, they started 0-5, fired their coach. Marty Schottenheimer stepped into this train wreck situation. He went 5-0 straight up and against the spread. The Oakland Raiders, no matter who they fire in midseason, it really doesn't seem to matter. And then you look at the Colts last year with Chuck Pagano's illness. Bruce Arians stepped in, did a masterful job. Now he goes to Arizona, and that team overachieves, and the Colts are kind of struggling. So the answer to the question really comes down to the competency of the head coach, their ability to organize, teach, and motivate.